Black Heroes Club presents A Father and His Time Machine. Jason sat in his pickup truck, staring at the mysterious green box on the dashboard. It had appeared out of nowhere, its sleek surface glowing faintly in the dim light of the parking lot. The rules of the box have been seared into his mind from the moment it had appeared. Rule 1. You have 3 days to decide to use it. Rule 2. You only get one chance to go back in the time. Rule 3. You must live with the reality that you create. Rule 4. Once you use the box, it will disappear and you will forget it existed. Rule 5. You cannot take or give a life. Rule 6. The butterfly effect is in full force. One false move can alter everything. Rule 7. You can only bring 3 items with you, so choose wisely. Jason sighed heavily, his hands gripping the steering wheel. He had been having one of those days, the kind where everything that could go wrong did go wrong. His wife Olivia had been bothering him about emptying out the dishwasher again, her voice sharp and cutting. His boss had called chewing him out about being late again, and his brother had demanded repayment of a loan that Jason couldn't afford to repay. The weight of his failures pressed down on him. He wasn't a bad man. He loved his kids and worked hard. But life had dealt him a lousy hand. And now, here it was, a chance to change it all. The glow of the green box seemed to pulse as if beckoning him to make a choice. Day 1. Doubt. Jason decided to drive home and sleep on it. When he turned the key in the ignition, the truck sputtered but refused to start. He groaned, smacking the steering wheel in frustration. It was another blow in a long string of misfortunes. That night, Olivia let him have it again, nagging him about chores and accusing him of being a lousy provider. He sat silently at the dinner table, the voices of his children, sweet, innocent, and unaware, cutting through the tension. "Dad, are you okay?" his daughter Ellie asked. Jason forced a smile. "I'm fine, sweetheart." But he wasn't. Day 2, the breaking point. The next morning, his truck still wouldn't start. He called his boss to explain, only to be met with harsh dismissal. "You're fired, Jason. I've given you too many chances." By lunchtime, he was desperate. He called his brother, swallowing his pride to ask for help. "You still owe me money, Jason," his brother said coldly. "You figure it out." Jason sat on the curb outside his house staring at the green box. He couldn't shake the thought of what it could do. It could give him a better job, a better life. It could even make him wealthy. But what if it cost him his children? He made his decision. The journey back. That night, Jason placed his hands on the box. A soft hum filled the air as it sprang to life, the glow intensifying. He could feel its power vibrating through his fingertips. The box gave him the option to choose 3 items to take with him. He picked a notebook to write down any changes he'd made, a photo of his children to remind him of what mattered most, a pocket watch his father had given him, a reminder of time's value. The box opened, revealing a swirling vortex of green light. Jason closed his eyes and stepped inside. Back to the past. Jason opened his eyes to find himself in the summer of 2005. He was 14 years younger, standing outside the diner where he had first met Olivia. The sight of her young, vibrant, and full of life made his heart ache. He thought about how their relationship had deteriorated over the years. Maybe this was his chance to change everything. But as he hesitated, the door to the diner opened and out stepped Emily, his ex-girlfriend. She looked just as he remembered, confident and magnetic, with a laugh that could light up a room. Emily smiled when she saw him. "Jason, is that you?" His heart raced. What if Emily had been the right one all along? What if his life with Olivia had been the wrong path? The choice. Jason spent the evening catching up with Emily, unable to ignore the spark between them. She talked about her dreams, her plans, her vision for the future, and Jason couldn't help but wonder if she was the key to the better life he craved. But as the night wore on, he pulled out the photo of his children, their faces so full of innocence and love, staring back at him. Could he risk losing them for a chance at a different life? "I'm sorry, Emily," he said, standing abruptly. "I can't do this." Jason left, his heart heavy but resilient. He found a quiet place and wrote in his notebook, "Do not stray from your family. They are your anchor." Returning to the present, Jason returned to the green box and placed his hand on it. The vortex of light reappeared, and he was pulled back into the present. When he opened his eyes, everything seemed the same. His house, his truck, his life. He exhaled in relief, thinking perhaps he had escaped the consequences of his brief detour. But when his children ran to greet him, something was different. Their eyes, once warm and familiar, were now a piercing alien shade of green. It was subtle, but it chilled Jason to the bone. "Dad, what's wrong?" Ellie asked, tilting her head. Jason forced a smile. "Nothing, sweetheart. Nothing at all." But deep down he knew the truth. The timeline had shifted just enough to leave a mark. The green box was gone, and Jason could no longer remember its existence. But the change lingered in the eyes of his children, a reminder of the price of tampering with time. Jason vowed never to mess with the past again. He had his family, and that was enough. Even if their eyes would always remind him of the gamble he'd taken, they were still his kids, and that was all that mattered.